I am Dr. Chichi. I'm a mental health provider. I have a mental health practice in Delaware in US. I'm also a parent with children on special needs. The goal is actually to educate parents on how much impact they can actually put in when it comes to assisting the children in getting better, especially understanding that it is difficult, but trying to make your every single day interactive is actually the most that you might think of if it's just that difficult to get other professionals. And it can be, because it's not easy, especially if you have to work and care for either one or two or how many kids that you might have in your care. But trying to make each and every single interaction a meaningful one for them, it's a goal. I will say to the parents, do not give up. That's the most important thing. Do not give up. A lot of parents don't seem to see the result and they get frustrated. They feel like, it's not gonna get better. So, I would just, for example, trying to do things for them because you are trying to tell them or giving them instruction and they are not following, and you feel like, let me just do it. Either because you are busy or because you feel like I've been trying this for months and it doesn't seem like it's making any difference. The children are very persistent themselves. If they mean no, they can really fight you on their nose. If they don't want to do something, they might seem very defiant, or sometimes seem like they're not even paying you attention, but they are listening, they are hearing you. They might not be following the direction or the instruction that you're giving them, but if you are persistent just the same way they are, eventually you will see that they will get it. You might not see the result immediately. You might not see the result even exactly the way that you expected, but you will see it. And I will say this so I don't forget. Don't you compare one child to another child. You can't compare. Even if you have 3 children who have special needs, don't compare one and try to see if you are not equal one to the other one. They are all unique. They are all special. They have something that is very different from one person to another. But you have to know, you have to meet them where they are to be able to see where you can take them from. So you start from where they are and then you expand from there. So don't give up. Make each and every single interaction that you have with them, because you are actually, as a parent, you are the therapist, the primary therapist. So before you even go out there to pay any other person to do therapy, which we are all encouraged to do that, which is very effective for them. But if you go out there, except if you have the money to be doing multiple hours a day and many days a week, which a lot of us, depending on where you come from, sometimes what we might get is like 1 hour a week. Okay, so 1 hour a week, when you are the parent that spend, multiple hours out of 24 hours a day, make each and every single conversation, communication, interaction a therapeutic one, ranging from, them eating, changing themselves, being independent, any activity at all. You name it, make it interactive in a way that is therapeutic for them. I believe it's Gestalt therapy, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But what that is, but first, I think some children learn that way, maybe not all of them. But for those ones that might mention 1 word, 2 words or phrases, if that's their learning style, then what you do is kind of give them more tools. Just like we have tools that we use when we do work. We add more tools in there. So if you need this one, you have. If you need this one. The same thing when it comes to speech. You add more tools in their toolkit so that they can pull out of it. So for a child who turn around and said water, as a parent, you might know water means that they are thirsty. So instead of you giving them a cup of water all the time, you might make them say water, I want. And sometimes you might start seeing them saying I want. So if you develop that I want, that's a request that they have already learned, and that's at home. So that's not even like in school, because at home they want a lot of things. They want water, they want food, they want the pink one, they want orange, they want a lot. So being able to say I want actually opens so many doors into a lot of things that they can express, their desire for. So I want water. So they might not say it that day, but keep being persistent. Like I said before, it might be difficult for them to repeat after you, but eventually it will come. Eventually it will come. Even if the speech is not clear, they might pronounce it in a way that someone else who doesn't know them might not even know that they're saying water. But it's okay. So long as they're making the attempt, always praise them. Always praise them. So even if they didn't even pronounce it right, but they made the attempt, laugh with them. Show a very wise facial expression that shows that you did awesome. That's beautiful. Bravo. Give me 5. Awesome work. Great job. As you do those, what you're telling the kid is that they're doing something great. And when you reward them, that reward will make that individual repeat the same thing. It's almost like when we talk about reward and punishment. So when you are praising someone for something they did good, you are telling them to repeat it again. So next time they say water, and you might watch them say, water, I. You might start the sentence, allow them to finish it. You say water. You say I, water, I want. Then you can say, I want water. If that's how you ended it that day, that's okay again, because you just now reminded them that, it's not just water, but you gotta tell me what you want to do. What do you want? And then they're moving on. So if you are starting the sentence, give them the chance to see what else they can add on to it. So you lead them. Sometimes too, you can mouth it though. You can mouth it. And then the moment they read your lips like I want, because you have done it before, they have that memory. They have it. But that's why I said you can't compare. As we know, autism, there's no yard to really measure because it's on the spectrum. So one child can be very, very minute in the expression of the symptoms that they're showing. Another child can be completely nonverbal. And then in between, you can see anything, right? So you can't really compare. And that's why you want to meet them where they are. But the truth is that the moment you develop that relationship where you understood what their learning style is, you are more likely that you might start seeing results where you are even doing the motion. And the thing that they said about the children on the spectrum, that they make eye contact. He said that they only do parallel play. That's not for everyone. So the children on the spectrum, they're not textbook definition. They are all unique. They are all different. Some of them could make very good eye contact when they want to. And so trying to understand the kid is very important, because if you understand the child and their needs, that's when you can actually develop a treatment plan. These children are very capable, even when we are not seeing it. But if we believe it first, you got to believe. Now, I don't want to sound very religious when I'm saying this, because then it's like, if you're a medical professional, then you want to be based whatever you do on science. But the truth is that if you believe that you could do something, it starts with the mind. So if you learn the kid first to see what their potential, where they are, you do an assessment on them first. That's what I mean by meet them where they are, because you must have already evaluated them. Then the next thing is for you to actually believe that, yes, I know you could do it. And then you can actually tell the child, I know you could do it. You could do it. It's like empowering that individual to do it. You empower them. And I tell parents, I said, the goal of raising a child is for them to be independent someday. If you keep doing for this child, are you going to live forever? Then who does it when you are not here? But if the goal is for this child to be able to survive on their, on his or her own, then it becomes very critical that we give them the opportunity to learn. You don't want to sit there and feel like you're punishing them by seeing them struggle, because that is from struggle, is from attempting, is from trying, is from failing that we become stronger and become perfect in whatever we're doing. You don't say, okay, well, someone, 6 years old should be able to kind of scoop up food and put it in their mouth. If this child is not able to do it at that age yet, continuing to put food in this child's mouth at age 6, especially if there is nothing wrong physically with them holding the spoon or, feeding themselves, don't feel guilty, but you gotta have to be patient. And you gotta need to spend the time to sit there and say, I know you could do it. If they need any adaptation, start with a finger food or give them a small task or, say, okay, I'm just gonna have you do one leg today. I'll help you put one shoe on. I'll show you how to do it. Do it this way. Okay, you do it. Even if they don't do it correctly, but the fact that they try, praise them. Like I said, smile, clap, or laugh. Show them that they did very well. But you need to be very persistent, because by you giving the time for that learning and believing that the learning will come, but sometimes it takes such a long time. So at times it might take a month to learn how to, put their foot in the shoe. It might take 1 month, and you're sitting there trying to compare this child with another child of yours that is, 6 and was doing everything at age 6. You don't do that. It's okay, but if you're persistent and know that, okay, if we learn how to put a foot in the shoe for a month, it's an achievement. You gotta celebrate that. It's an achievement. So that's what I mean by being persistent, is that we have to allow them the time to try. We have to give them opportunity to do it themselves. And when we do, you'll be surprised what they can do. You'll be surprised. And let me tell you, they know when you do for them. The more you do for them, the more they allow you. If you come out every single time and you allow a child on the spectrum, like I was explaining about a client of mine at age of 23, the father is still helping him to put his clothes and his shoes. I said, but this child can actually do these things. He said, but I've been doing it since he was born and, I feel guilty. I said, but why are you feeling guilty for something that he can do? Well, I don't want to see him struggle. I said, but life is actually full of struggle. And through struggle, we become stronger. But when we don't struggle, it will be difficult for us to just get up one day and have to struggle, because you wouldn't know where to start. You would be very frustrated. And so it's okay for you to watch this child learn than to worry about this child surviving with basic skills. I said, what happens if you're in the hospital? You'll be worried about how this child will get up and put clothes on, right? Because, he never learned. I said, try it when you go home. I said, try it, but you gotta be patient though. He said, yeah, I'll be patient. I said, well, try it. And till today, he's still very grateful, because he came back and was full of smile. And this was 3 months, because I see them every 3 months. So the next 3 months he came, he's like, I gotta tell you something. You remember what you told me to do? Oh my God. I don't do anything for him again now. I just make sure that he get the right clothing for the season, and I just sit back and he put his clothes on. I said, didn't I tell you he could do it? Yes. He affects the mental health, not just, and that another thing too, though, a good point. When you are burnt out, it affects your mood, and they pick up on our behavior too, because they're sensitive. So when you are irritated, they feel it. And some of the children on the spectrum, some of them can be very anxious. Some of them can be very, very anxious. Some of them can be, aggressive, especially if they don't have enough words yet to kind of explain, what they are feeling. So, and that's how sometimes some parents or some individuals would describe that the kids, that they hit, and I'm trying to tell them, I don't believe that those children are really physically just want to hurt other people. But you can imagine how frustrating it can be for them that they can't actually express what they have, because sometimes they know inside them what they want, how they feel, but to communicate is hard. And so then it's very important that we balance what we do, with these children, just so we create a mental balance, which is a mental wellness, not just for the child, but for the parent, because taking care of such children can be very hectic. And if you don't create a balance, you will really deplete your energy. And when you deplete that energy, your mood will be very irritable. And if it becomes irritable, you can also be infectious, because it can really like transmit to the child. Yes. At that time, you are no longer helpful. It comes back to you. It cycles back, yes. It cycles back. It doesn't create growth. Let's just put it that way. So to move forward is to give them the tool to survive. We have to think of it that way. We have to give them the tool that they need to survive. Let's just say that as humans, that we are all unique anyway. There's something about us that makes us different from one person to the next. Now, for the children on the spectrum, we see that when they exceed in some areas above other children their own age. They exceed. So, for example, assuming it's a child that likes to play piano, you might find out that child might teach himself how to play that piano and do it so well compared to individual his own age. So if you now notice that this child, a lot of these children like arts, music, they do. So a lot of them might like arts, music. So the moment you pick up where they have interest, and that's when I said meet them where they are and they expand from there, because let's, for example, you notice that this child likes playing piano. Make that available to this child so that he can actually play that piano, because it's soothing. And because it's soothing for them as well, it will expand their self-worth, their well-being, their happiness, their joy, even serve as a skill for them in the future. If it's something that they might end up benefiting from as a member of the society, to be able to have it as a skill to depend on, then that's beautiful. Some of them swim very well too. So swimming, a lot of children on the spectrum, they love water. And so when they're small, try them on different activities and see where their interests are. And where they pick those interests, support them in those areas so they can shine, because when they do, it brings the best out of them. All children are not the same. So that's what the textbook is saying. But you'll find out that what happens is that if they don't have that many words to describe it, you might not see it. And don't forget, not every single individual that interacts with someone on the spectrum actually know what to observe or what to look out for or how to evaluate them. And with that being said, they are still all different and develop differently on different stages, even when they're on the spectrum, and might not show the affection in the way that you are seeing it. So you might have a child on the spectrum, when see someone crying, you might see them maybe wipe your tears, but might not really like show the affection, like, oh, I see that you're crying. But over time though, but you want to like keep modeling to them, oh, I'm hurt. Oh, that's painful. Have that facial emotion with someone. Eventually, they might start making that connection. See, there's a delay, and that's what we see too. There's a delay, but that delay doesn't always mean that it's not there. But it might not be shown the same way it's shown for other children who are not on the spectrum. It might also maybe come much later for their age, for their developmental age, than it should have for other children as well. But I believe that as time goes on, for some of those children, you will see that there's another child now who he's around 8 or 9. So he will say sorry, and that's something he wasn't doing before. But if he sees like he kick another child, he says, what did you just do? Before you even finish, he says sorry. But he wasn't doing it before, when other children of his age, were already like responding to, oh, I know I kicked you, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. This child wouldn't say I won't do it again, but again, he's still like limited in speech, but he will really say, oh, sorry. Because what? Maybe he has already learned that when you hurt someone, you say sorry. and that as time goes on, they might learn more of showing it more than they are showing. Yes, a lot of, see, it's a big debate with if MMR vaccine is actually like have any impact. So some parents want to believe it. Some parents are kind of like questioning that. Some parents, especially if you live in a society where you believe in your government and you are in a medical field already, or you belong to those groups that also give it to other people's children. So as a medical professional, you don't want to have to agree that you're actually like giving these children something that is harmful. But then as a consumer, as a parent, will tell you, because multiple parents have come forward to say, the child regressed following this vaccine. So it's still something that is still on the table for debate, or what impact this vaccine has on children. What I will add would be encouraging parents who might focus more on thinking like some parents, especially from a different culture, who might think this has to do with another person who is doing witchcraft on you, or will tell you, oh, we don't have this in the family, so we might just need to go see a pastor. There's nothing wrong with praying. There's nothing wrong with fasting. There's nothing wrong with using your faith, whatever you believe in, to support you in the journey. But it's very important to recognize that the intervention is needed, and it's needed as early as we can start. You need to take action. You have to do your part. You have to do your part. Like you mentioned with the stem cell therapy, I do have people that say to me, is it working yet? Are you, how much you pay? You're going to go back and pay all that money again? Have you seen the result? I said, you have to do what's in your power. And the fact that the intervention makes a difference when they are younger, you want to do it as quickly as possible and leave the rest to your faith. But what's within your power, you have to do it. And that's how, for those parents who might end up, the guilt might come in if you don't do your part today. At some point, you might look back and be filled with a lot of guilt, because you might think of, okay, I had the opportunity to have done this and you didn't, and you'll be wondering what would have been the outcome if I did something different. When I did the research, what I was looking into, it's actually, where is the cell coming from? That was very important to me. And, just because some parents are like, okay, is that from a donor? Is that from the child? And some individuals were like, oh, how do you collect a cell? But if this child is not doing well and you're going to collect the cell from this particular child, is that a good
it is not a cellular disease, right?
Yes. So you have to kind of let them know, okay, well, let's break it down. Let's think of it this way. Let's just think of the neurons as just, they are not firing, they are laying dormant. So let's think of them as like charging them up. Let's think of it as activating them, stimulate them to wake up. And they will say, oh. So they understand it in that way, that you're saying, okay, I'm just going to go and stimulate the neurons so they can fire. You know how you charge your phone, make it charge it up. So that kind of makes sense to them. And then you tell them, you say, yeah, you take from the child cells. And that's one of the criteria that I was looking into. So then I don't have to worry about being concerned with, was it well tested, could there be possible for any infection or anything like that? Although some individuals were also kind of concerned about, oh, are you going through the spinal cord? Like, what happens if, infection, or if you travel out of the country? But those are the areas that would make you. I did. So I have to tell some of those parents, I didn't actually come across any area where there's a side effect, actually, maybe just a rash on the procedure site, but no side effect at all. And I could say like a lot of parents see turnaround ranging from mild to like some say 360, where some parents said their kid actually were removed from special classrooms and or even notice results immediately. So it ranges from each person is different, but I think the most comforting thing is knowing that, okay, it's if we have so many parents that see results, obviously there's something good in it, and especially when the kid is still at the age where you feel like you can get more out of the procedure than to wait, because some parents are saying, okay, in some countries, and it's not covered by insurance, and in some countries it's the research is still going on, so some parents are actually like waiting to see what happens to the ones that get it. Let me see the result. But it's just the idea of the fact that those kids are getting older and older and older, and that the more the brain gets more rigid, then that transformation and that regeneration, the effect decreases. Those other children lose interest. That's what I'm seeing. But kids seem to gravitate towards her, but then